Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It is Dr. Phil here with another update on Opal's Biodemocracy with its own sound effects of an opal dropping. That's the... Who wants this one? No one does. This is my opal orientation guide. So the thought that occurred to me is if we are going to do opals by democracy, then we better have some kind of nomenclature on how to actually guide me to cut the opal for you. So what I've done here is I've actually inscribed the opal. I've got two methods, and you'll see both of them are very similar. Let's go for this guy here. So we have a look here. Can you see what's going on here? Right. So what I've done is I've written top, T for top. The T is oriented, in an ordinary direction that a T is oriented, and I've decided that that orientation will be north. And then we use the old saying, never eat soggy wheat bix, never eat soggy wheat bix. So we've got north, east, south, and west. And so now what we can do is we can actually say, I want you to, cut away the sand on the west-hand side, or I want you to go to the bottom of the opal, and we know that this is the bottom of the opal, and I've actually put a north arrow on that one as well. So you can see that now, if you want me to do something, you have a pretty precise way in which we can do it. And you can also see that I've cut this opal a little bit. Now, I haven't cut it fully because we're doing this by democracy. We're just going to cover some other topics first. This is a piece of crystal opal, and I'm just curious as to what that inclusion is. I think it's a small leaf. So I think we've got a fossilized inclusion. We've also got a fossilized inclusion on the other side. And once this thing has all been polished up, you can see that the bottom part of the opal is not as good as the top. I don't think that we had flowering plants as we knew them 120 million years ago. I've forgotten about my history. But if that's the case, that leaf is called a bryophyte. But I could be talking around my hat. I'll find that out for you later. We did the opal in a minute challenge. Let me show you this guy. Let's just face the sun, or the light. Now this is the opal that I used. As you can see, I've put a lot more effort into it. This is not the shape of the cab. It was all sorts of wrong. And I've spent an awful lot of time correcting all of that all sorts of wrong. But we are going to entertain the fantasy that I did it all in a minute. Yay. Go me. What we can tell you about this one is, I should tell you the supplier. It was once again Riley Gunn, 53 Frogs. And I only selected it because it seemed to be the right shape. And now I've cut it. I haven't finished polishing it. I've just put it on the, I've put it down to 3000 grit sandpaper. But it's nearly smooth. There's still a few lumps and bumps. I may have to go down to 1000 even to fix that up. Hopefully I won't have to. One thing I can tell you about this thing is that there is just the tiniest of dark patches just about here. Tiniest dark patches there. I don't think that's too big a deal. But technically this is probably one of the whitest opals you're going to find. I'm not entirely certain that camera does it credit, but this to me is just an absolutely beautiful opal. Probably not particularly valuable, but it is so exquisite to me. I love it. Absolutely love it. I can't explain why I love it so much, but I've had a lot of fun polishing this guy up. I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to have this particular opal. And if nobody else loves it, I will love it. I sound like somebody picking up a poor orphan, but whatever else. Also, with the Boulder opals, I'll show you what's going on with it. I may even fit in post some of the conversations that were had in the rocks market with these opals. So here's one of them. There was a triangle, a nice beautiful blue triangle. It's got a little bit of a problem right in the middle, but that's okay, because if you go over to this side, you can see that there's actually a flash of green. I haven't finished polishing it yet because it's quite groovy, and I don't have Roy's sintered polishing bits, so I have to try and use sandpaper, and it can be done. It's just a trickier proposition, so it's taking a bit longer. But what I found out is if I flip it over here, you can see almost an anarchy symbol that's sitting there. If you have a look at the A, there is actually, from my naked eye, there is actually a bit of a green flash happening there. And if you flip that over, you'll realize that this is the area where the A is. right there. I'm pretty certain there's actually some precious opal there, so I'm going to continue to dig, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more precious opal out of this particular section. Not entirely certain that we can get the whole thing filled in, but we can get quite a lot of it filled in. So I'm quite happy with this opal. I reckon we'll have quite a lot of colour. That was a big surprise. Now the dealer who sold this opal to me, he was suggesting ways to do it, and quite frankly, I was thinking the same. But we'll give him credit for this. This thing is absolutely exquisite. Absolutely exquisite. I love this inclusion here. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What you can see here is that it doesn't quite get encased by the opal, the sand, whatever the inclusion actually is. But still, I don't think it detracts from the opal at all. This just has to be absolutely drop dead gorgeous. So stunning. I absolutely love it. And I am glad to have had the privilege of actually cutting this opal. You can even change the colour. What do you know? There you go. Look at that. There's just all sorts of colours flinging through it. It's as clear. It just looks like it's an underwater seascape. And look at all of that flash. That is just... oh, it's just so amazing. I can't believe I just saw it just sitting there in somebody's too hard basket. Amazing. Oh, what a privilege it was to cut that one, huh? Whilst we've got the change in lighting, let's see if we can actually see this guy a bit better. Yeah, you can see why I like it, can't you? It's got every colour under the sun. I think that is what would save it in terms of its value. It'd probably be worth a little bit, not huge amounts because it's not a black opal. But I just think that, like, if you saw this in real life, you'd be going, this is really exquisite. It's just beautiful. Not seeing many of the reds, of which there are multitudes of red. Let's try and angle it the other way, see if we can get the reds. There you go, there's some red. Each colour reflects just slightly differently. But you can see just like every single colour, you can see it in this opal. Every single colour. I absolutely love that opal. I'm going to stop gushing over it now. Over here we've got another opal. This is a boulder from the Rocks Market, and I'll try and show you where this one actually came from too when I do it in post. But you can see that there's just a lovely little play of colour there. I'm just highlighting the scratch that's still there. The problem I've got is there was a bit of a play of colour on the opposite side of the opal, except whilst I was trying to get this scratch out, I managed to get rid of that play of colour. Very thin amount of colour that's just painted across this particular opal. So I've got to be really cautious how I get this colour out. I am going to try. I may end up ruining the entire thing, which will be a shame, but it's very small. And it's a boulder opal. I love them myself, but they're not as expensive as black opals. I promised that I would cut off a little slither and make something out of it, and that this is a complement to this particular opal. I haven't worked on this one as much as I worked on the other one, but it is just another wow stone. I love it. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, we've got two more things before we get into the democracy. Okay, this piece is a little piece of opal from Minterby. And the reason why I'm giving you this look is this is very similar to that giant chunk of opal that Roy from Roy's Rocks is carving at the moment. The reason why I'm doing this at all is because you can't see it from the side, but when I was originally carving it, it was quite a beautiful red bar from the side. Now there still is red in this. There's also cracks, but this red is so hard to detect now. And that is the problem that Roy has been encountering. That's why he was testing the bars in the first place. He knows that bars don't face necessarily the way he wants them to. So I thought I'd show you this piece of meant to be Opal, which is behaving as everyone expects meant to be Opal to behave, which is badly. Everyone loves meant to be. It's like it's like a bad girlfriend, you know, treat them mean to keep them keen. This is my first attempt at merch. This is a cockatoo. I haven't quite finished yet, but a part of the crest broke off. And so we'll see how that goes. You may see more of it. I've actually got a whole stack of Andamuka Matrix Opal. Actually, I don't think this is Andamuka Matrix. Riley Gunn's usually very good with what he gives us, but this looks like Iron Band to me. And I have been trying to cut another particular piece. It's really, really hard. So I think it's Iron Band more than... It might come from Andamuka, but it's probably, you know, that hard layer that comes on top of the opal before you get to the real good precious opal. But it is a matrix opal, I suppose. And if it comes from Andamuka, well, Andamuka Matrix, I suppose. But at any rate, I've drawn a little thing on there, and hopefully I'll be able to carve a few little trinkets out. You never know, I might be able to get some merch. Smash that like button. What am I doing nowadays, huh? Okay, now let's get into the democracy. Number 2 was mentioned first in the comments section. I don't have the notes here, but this is the result that we got from it. He said go from the top. That's right. I remember that now. He said go from the top, which is what I did. So when we got to this color bar, I stopped. And the reason I stopped was because I have a suspicion that the color faces from this side and this side only. Or this side and this side only. And so if we keep going down, I'll wet it and let's have a look. If we keep going down, it's your judgment call to make. Is that little piece of colour that you can see just on the corner there, if you have a look on the side, I've started to face it in. But you can see this one here, there's a little bit of colour, but you get more colour if you go on the side. To be honest, it actually looks a lot better in real life, this one. But do you want me to continue cutting down from the top? That's my question. I'm perfectly happy to do it. It's just there's a bit of risk involved. So I await your instructions on this. And of course, it has got the top and bottom written on it. So what you can do is you can go north, south, east, west. I've got Riley Gunn's scale, so you can have a look there. That will help you to figure out what to do. So let's move over to 1A and 1B. We'll do 1B first because I think that's going to be easy. So what happened in the end? We were told, well, I was told to split it down the middle. And so I did that. I also removed a lot of the sand. Now, it looks a bit as your father. I get that. But still, there's an awful lot of good that can happen with this particular opal, in my opinion. I know that for the uninitiated, it looks pretty rubbish. But I can guarantee you, for those people who have not cut opal, most opals look like this before they become something fantastic. Alternately, I could continue and make it into a carved piece, but I think I've cut too many grooves into it. So this is what it looks like here. Giving you that. That's the bottom side. Bit of an S, or maybe even from the opposite direction, it's a Z. Okay, so there. Let's just once again put the scale up so you can see. North, south, east, and west, top and bottom. Right. This is the one with the sun flash in it. I have gotten most of the sand out of it, except for this bit of sand that is sitting in there. If I can at all avoid it, I will try to not cut into the sand which is fully enclosed within there. But who knows what the future holds. What I'm scared about is the fact that I can see a fracture which goes right through the flash. If you can't see it, I can give you an idea. There it is, you can see it. Okay, you get that black triangle. you're not being mistaken. I'm pretty certain that is a crack. Nice big fracture going through it. So should I cut through that? If we cut through down here, we've still got half a sun flash. May even get it like that. Yeah, we'll be able to get the sun flash through that. That's not an that's a substantial stone, not insignificant. We might be able to get something. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty certain we can get something just in there. Let's try and frame it a bit to give you an idea of how big that would be. It'd be about a centimetre, 10 mil. So that's good. 15 mil for that thing. So I think that maybe cutting it is a good idea, but cutting it along the crack, you can see the up arrow just. This is the top of the stone. So I'll give you a second to orient yourself to have a look around it, see what you want to have done. I'll flip it over to the reverse side and you can see what it looks like. Most of the sand has been cleared now. If you want me to continue to clear the sand, there is a certain amount of risk that's associated with that. Perfectly happy to do it though. I cleaned as much sand as I thought was fair to you guys. You can see there's probably, for example, another, that travels along the lines of this crack that we already know about. So if you cut that crack, you'll be cutting it all the way along there. All right. That's about it. 20 minutes of me rambling. How fun was that? I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Dr. Phil out.
It's Dr. Phil.